We here at Disney Food Blog want you to have the best, most perfect, life-changing meal at Disney World. Now, the problem is it's almost impossible to guarantee that will happen. So, what can you do to have the best shot, and what do you need to be aware of when planning out your meals in Disney World? Well, we've got everything you need to know. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Good meals can be found all over Disney World. There are some amazing restaurants with phenomenal chefs, and we're always telling you about our favorites. But even if a restaurant is beloved by us here at DFB and is a major fan favorite, that doesn't mean you can expect to have a good meal there when you arrive for your reservation. So let me tell you why and how you can get as close as possible to guaranteeing a great meal in Disney World. All right, menus are always changing in Disney World. This is something that I talk about regularly on interviews and things like that. I always say that the most consistent thing about Disney World restaurants is that they're inconsistent. The menus change, the chefs change, the staff changes, and of course, the food buying operations change. Things go in and out of being in season, etc. So the first thing we're going to talk about here is menus are always changing. Just because you saw something reviewed here on DFB a few months ago doesn't mean you'll be able to find the exact same item at the exact same place when your trip rolls around. That's why our job here at DFB is to give you a general vibe for a restaurant. This is the type of food that they offer. This is the type of experience you're going to have. Because of course, you're not going to have the exact same experience that we have when we're there reviewing restaurants. That's also why we go back to restaurants multiple times, year in and year out, so that we can give you multiple reviews. And here's what it's like most recently. Now, many restaurants in Disney World have seasonal menus. Some of the signature restaurants may even have side dishes that swap out a little more frequently than once a season, as those restaurants usually rely on potentially farm to market, what's specifically in season, what's available today, versus sort of the bulk ordering that happens with some of the less expensive restaurants. Certain snacks or dishes may only be available at certain times of year. Specialty Dole Whip floats and other seasonal treats are going to switch up frequently. Some things may only be around for a few weeks or a month. Sometimes snacks are only available for a single day or just a few days. There are near constant switch-ups in bakery cases, at snack kiosks, and in restaurants all over the parks and resorts, so it's important to always check menus before your trip so you know what to expect at that dinner reservation you booked 2 months ago. And COVID-19 has caused shortages and supply issues, staffing shortages, and it means a lot of restaurants are changing and shortening menus, and we're not entirely out of that just yet. Many restaurants still have shortened offerings. Some have favorite dishes like fried chicken at Trail's End at Fort Wilderness, not there yet. They're not back yet, those favorite beloved dishes. Now, our friends at allears.net have menu pages for every single restaurant and snack kiosk, even the itty bitty ones. Those are updated regularly. A lot of them have food photos with them. Anytime there's a menu change or price change, they're updated, so you can find the most up-to-date menus and info over there, along with some food photos as well. Okay, another reason why it's impossible to guarantee a good meal in Disney World is the staff is always changing. It's always been the case that Disney World chefs move around a lot. It's actually compulsory. In order to move up the ladder in Disney World as a chef, you actually have to work in several different atmospheres in several different areas, like counter service or quick service, table service. A lot of chefs spend time on the festival beat or the events situation. So some chefs have spent years at a single restaurant and have become fairly well known for helming certain kitchens, but even those chefs move from time to time. The former chef from Ohana at the Polynesian moved over to Sebastian's Bistro, which is a Caribbean beach resort. So now you can get amazing bread pudding in 2 locations. The one at CBR isn't quite the same as the one at the Poly, but it's really good. And staffing has been difficult for Disney right now, so you're seeing that some things aren't open as often as they used to be, or maybe you're seeing cast members working extended shifts. Now, we've heard from a lot of our readers and followers that things just aren't like they used to be in Disney World right now. It's still in the process of reopening, bringing back employees. They're hiring like crazy. They're giving big bonuses for hiring and bringing on that new team and training new staff. All of that can take time. As park capacity is increasing, Disney's trying to keep up with the correct level of staff, but it's going to be a tricky balancing act for a little bit. As you know, the international program isn't back, so Disney's also got to staff all of the World Showcase without those international cast members, so that's just a whole lot. Now, even if service isn't the tip-top Disney usual, please be nice to your server. Please be nice to cast members. They're trying their best. They truly have some of the most difficult jobs, and especially right now in the parks with the health and safety concerns, bringing very heightened emotions. They are going through a lot. So let's try to make their jobs a little easier than harder. But yeah, overall, the staff is changing. People are working in places they haven't worked before. And so you're going to have a different experience than maybe you would with a server who's been in that restaurant for years. All right, next reason why it's impossible to guarantee a good meal in Disney World, you're listening to the wrong recommendations. Every Disney restaurant is not for everyone, so don't listen to just Aunt Susan's top picks or to what Becca from your book club says you have to do or what John from your parents group on Facebook says his kids liked the most. Everybody's got an opinion, and all those opinions are different, and they're based on those people specifically, their family, what they like, what they don't like. Now, some of those folks might be raving about Chef Mickey's and Disney's Contemporary Resort, but if the thought of a loud, very exciting, in-your-face character meal is the opposite of your ideal breakfast before the loud and exciting Magic Kingdom, you can pick somewhere maybe Aunt Susan's never heard of. It's okay. It's your trip, and that's why you're here. That's why you're watching Disney Food Blog, is because we're going to sort of give you not a good or bad judgment call, but instead we're going to show you what the restaurant is actually like. We're going to show you what we actually were served. We're going to talk to you about our experience there, but we're also going to contextualize it for what you can expect based on your personal priorities. Now, even if you're following guidebooks, some guides are just plain outdated, and they're also written for just one kind of person. We go to Disney World every single day, and we don't let restaurants rest on their laurels. Like I said, we go back all the time. If we have a bad meal at everyone's favorite restaurant, Ohana, we're going to tell you about it. We may cover all the news coming from Disney parks, but we focus on the food. It's how I got started with this blog, and our team prides themselves on providing real, unbiased feedback on everything we eat in Disney World. We buy everything we eat. We're not paid by Disney to tell you that the gross, weird snacks are actually good. What I will say about those gross, weird snacks is that there's probably somebody who's going to love it, and that's why we tell you what it's like, and not only that our reporter didn't like it. Cream cheese soft serve, for example. Half our team loves it, half our team hates it. We'll tell you about both sides. Same thing with that Pongu Lumpia. I love it. Lots of our team doesn't. So we'll tell you our own personal experiences, and we'll also give you pictures. We'll show you what it's like. You get it. Okay, we regularly revisit those restaurants. We bring you the most up-to-date reviews, and you can find them all over at DisneyFoodBlog.com. But if you want all the reviews of every single restaurant in Disney World, along with special tips to help you make the most of your meal, plan your snack budget, and decide if the Disney dining plan is right for you, we do have a guide for that. And it's really, really long, and it takes the same tack. We basically write it for all of you. And we don't focus on telling you if it's good or bad. We focus on telling you what it's like so you can choose for yourself if it's right for you. We've got a full team that works on our guidebook year-round to make sure you have the most up-to-date information on everything food in Disney World. It's over 800 pages of in-depth knowledge that comes with a full money-back guarantee if it's not the guide for you. You can get our massive DFB guide to Walt Disney World dining, along with any of our festival and snack guides over at dfbstore.com, and our viewers get a special promo code YouTube for a discount. Another reason why it's impossible to guarantee a good meal in Disney World, you didn't do the research. There are over 400 restaurants in Disney World, and while you don't need to dig into the menus of every single one of them, you should plan to do a decent amount of research to figure out how to not waste your money in Disney World. Do you want to dine with Mickey? Are you looking for a special date night dinner? Do you need to find something to eat for your vegan, gluten-free, keto relatives? Narrowing down your list of priorities can help you wade through those 400 restaurants to find the ones that are going to work best for you and your group. We have a restaurant search tool over at DisneyFoodBlog.com that will help you narrow down what you're looking for in a restaurant. From there, check menus at allears.net, check reviews on our blog to see which line up with your tastes and needs. Our guidebook has suggestions for different types of travelers and meals with a whole chapter dedicated for helping you choose the best restaurant for specific instances. Okay, now the next point I want to make in this video is one I just made earlier. Quality isn't consistent. 2 meals in the same day may not measure up, let alone months or years apart. I literally ate at Le Cellier for lunch and ate at Le Cellier for dinner, and I had 2 completely different experiences. One was great, one was horrible, and that just goes to show. Just because your cousin or your best friend had a great experience at a restaurant doesn't mean that you will, which is why more information is key. Doing your research is going to put you ahead of the game. So even if the chef, the supply issues, the timing of the meal, all of that is right on target, It could still just be an off day for the restaurant, and if you went back the following day, you might have the best meal ever. Now, we've had good and bad meals and good and bad experiences at nearly every restaurant. There are very few, if any, that are perfect every single time our team has visited. It's important to temper your expectations that the meal you had 8 years ago at Le Cellier might not measure up to the meal you're having there tonight. Now, another reason why it's hard to guarantee a good meal in Disney World is because you may be eating at the wrong time. Whether it's too close to your last meal, too far from your last meal, or too close to that ride on Space Mountain, planning when you eat can affect your day. If you're going to an all-you-can-eat meal, make sure you're actually going to be hungry when you arrive. The general rule of thumb is to plan just one table service meal per day in Disney World. Otherwise, you might find yourself with too much food in a single day. You also might want to reconsider hitting the buffet-type restaurants at the end of the night. Many buffets are now served family style, but that food is still being cooked like a buffet, so you might be getting the bottom of the barrel stuff when you arrive close to closing time. If you don't want to feel rushed while you eat, avoid main meal times, 9 or 10 a.m. for breakfast, noon for lunch, 6 p.m. for dinner. Restaurants will be their most crowded at those times, and servers will be aiming to turn tables as quickly as possible to keep things moving and to get more tips. If you want a long, leisurely meal, arrive when a restaurant first opens, or go after the rush for a late lunch. Okay, something else that could go wrong when you're trying to guarantee a good meal in Disney World is you could be sitting in the wrong place. We all know that atmosphere affects how good a meal tastes. It's very, very true. So where you sit might not make a big difference at every restaurant, though no one wants to be seated right next to the bathroom or the kitchen. But at some Disney World restaurants, it can actually have a huge impact on your whole dining experience. If you're eating at San Angel Inn, you might want to be right on the water watching the boats go past. California Grill at the Contemporary, Ohana at the Polynesian, and at Epcot, Rose and Crown, Hacienda de San Angel, Spice Road Table, all of those restaurants have tables with a fireworks view. If you time dinner during the fireworks, it can be a disappointment to end up sitting somewhere that doesn't have a good view when that's the entire reason you booked that restaurant. So when you arrive for your reservation, if there's a certain area or room of the restaurant you'd like to sit in, you can definitely request that when you check in, and you should. You may need to wait a little longer for a table to become available, and sometimes it might not be possible at all, but it's definitely worth asking for. By the way, our guidebook has a whole section on which tables to request so you can get the best seats in all the restaurants. Okay, here's another big reason why it's hard to guarantee a good meal in Disney World. It is really easy to overspend, and everybody knows food is always going to taste bad if you think you're paying too much for it. So check prices ahead of time, set a budget well in advance. If you know you only have room in your budget for one splurge meal during your trip, make sure you keep those other meals at a reasonable price. Budget for appetizers, enhancements, quote unquote, that's what Disney calls extra sides, desserts, and gratuity. If you're on the Disney dining plan once it returns, you're definitely going to want to stay aware of gratuity since it's not included in your prepaid package price. You'll need to pull out some cash or a card to cover that part of the bill at every meal. And take a holistic approach to your budgeting. Consider everything from your hotel to souvenirs, sit-down meals, and any potential snacks. Snacks might not seem like something that can eat away at your budget, but too many $6 cupcakes can take a toll on that predetermined spending cash. And you can likely find restaurants that fit within any budget, so don't feel discouraged if you don't want to drop $400 every day on food. That's okay. We can help you figure out how to not do that. Our DFP Guide to Walt Disney World Dining has a whole chapter on building your budget and deciding where you should eat, with daily sample itineraries to help you get the full picture and decide what types of restaurants are right for you and your family and your budget. Don't worry, there's lots of great Disney World restaurants that will not break the bank, and we promise to steer you in the right direction. All right, another reason it's impossible to guarantee a good meal in Disney World, and I know a lot of you are going to totally feel this when I say it, you got a lot of people to please. So whether you've just got a lot of folks with a lot of different tastes, or you have family members with special diets, super picky eaters, all that can make it tough to decide on restaurants that everyone will enjoy. Now, you might even have some family members who just hate everything. Well, if you've got someone with allergies or a restrictive diet or is just a sad sack, well, know that you're in good hands at Disney World. We got a lot of tips when it comes to special diets, so we organized them into an easily downloaded info pack so you don't need to hunt everything down. Go to disneyfoodblog.com/special diet cheat sheet to get that sent right to your inbox. Our DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining also has chapters on navigating the parks with allergies and tougher diets if you're looking for even more in-depth info. Now, if you've got picky eaters, here are a few restaurants you'll want to check out. Yak and Yeti and Animal Kingdom has a huge menu so you can find something for your vegans, keto dieters, and your family who will only eat a plain burger. Pecos Bill, Tall Tale Inn and Cafe, and Columbia Harbor House, both in Magic Kingdom, those are great for health-conscious eaters, but they've got some less healthy things too, like burgers and fried fish, if that's what you're in the mood for. Backlot Express in Hollywood Studios is where you can find burgers, fries, chicken nugs, plastic cheese. Via Napoli's going to get you your pizza fix without having to resort to those puffy pizzas you'll find at most quick-service restaurants. That one's in Epcot. Garden Grill is a very accessible character meal in Epcot. Everyone will find something they actually enjoy eating here. And the vegan dish is actually delicious here as well. And Raglan Road and Wolfgang Puck Bar and Grill in Disney Springs both have some more unique options on the menu for those looking for something a little less vanilla. But there are also tried and true crowd pleasers, so everyone is happy. Those are just a few examples. There are tons of restaurants that are good for picky eaters, and we talk about them all the time here on the channel and in our DFB guide. Also, another great tip for having a huge crowd to please, let everyone weigh in on the decision for where you'll eat on your trip. Let your kids look at some of the menus, have the whole family watch some of our restaurant-centric videos to get a feel for where they might enjoy dining, and then get those on your list. Another reason it's hard to guarantee a good meal in Disney World, well, your meal is taking up valuable park time. Yep, table service meals can take over an hour unless you're a really fast eater, which can start eating into your park and ride time, which can cause FOMO that you're not getting the most out of your day. If you're a park commando that wants to be hitting rides from park open to park close, I suggest you do plan a sit-down meal during your day to force yourself to sit and relax for a little bit, get some AC, maybe not dehydrate and pass out. But if you know you're going to be watching the clock during your meal, maybe opt for just quick service meals while the parks are open, and plan your sit-down meals for when you're not going to be in the parks. Plan breakfast before a late park opening Epcot day or dinner after an early park close Animal Kingdom day. That way you're really getting the most out of your park ticket. Now, like I said earlier, your experience determines the meal. Atmosphere, companions, and experience makes a huge difference in how good it is and what kind of memories you take away from it. Scientific studies show that your frame of mind and state of relaxation affects how good your food tastes and how positive your memories are of that experience. So keeping your stress level low and your attitude positive is probably one of the best things you can do to have a better meal. That's true of your entire Disney World trip too. Keep a good mindset. Be ready to roll with the punches. Keep your standards a little lower than maybe they are, because not everything's gonna go right, y'all. And just enjoy yourself. No matter what happens, what might go wrong, you're still in Disney with some of your favorite people. Fingers crossed. Now, if you follow the tips in this video, you'll be a lot more likely to have a great meal in Disney World. And even if it's not the perfect meal, it's still the meal in Disney World, right? So that's pretty great. Now, if you like our tips and videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you want to support us, pick up one of our guidebooks. You'll find them over at dfbstore.com, and you can use code YouTube to get that discount. So we've packed out this video with lots of information. I hope we didn't overwhelm you, but the bottom lines here are: do your research, know what you're getting yourself into, don't just randomly listen to what someone else tells you, myself included, and keep your attitude positive and your stress level down, and you'll have a much better opportunity to have a great meal in Disney World. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.